Hi guys, it's Tao from Shine Bright Design, and today I'm doing commentary journal on this piece by Hanna Karlzon, and this piece is called Autumn Aurora. So let me tell you about this piece. This piece, from the get-go, I had a feeling of, oh my god, I've stuffed it up. I'm going to start again. And I had a feeling of doubt from the get-go, and it was because when I was using pen pastels and I was doing the base for the skin, I felt like I wasn't using the right colors because I still haven't kind of gotten a hold on how to mix skin yet, and I'm just going with the flow, going with my artistic instinct. And the moment I put down that yellow that you see now, I had my gut in my stomach, and I just thought, I've screwed it up, I've stuffed it up. Because what you're seeing on the screen is what I'm seeing, and I just thought, it's over. I've got to start again. This ain't gonna work. And I just kept doubting. I just like, nah, it's not gonna work. I don't know, I'm gonna give up. But my partner told me to keep going. He said, no, just keep trying, keep pushing at it, see what you can do. And I did. And I'm glad that I listened, because you know what, it turned out quite nice. And this kind of reminds me of the advice I give to a lot of you guys. When you feel like you've made a mistake, you can always fix it. And sometimes I'm gonna take my own advice, honestly. And I did, I fixed it. I don't know what I did, I don't know how I did it, but I brought it back to life. So as you guys know, I use pen pastels as a basis for some of my work, and that was the base. This is what it looks like, and it doesn't look that great, but you know, it's a great start for the base of pencils. So I mainly use luminances through this whole tutorial, and I'm hoping in my tutorial I'll be able to recreate the instructions for you guys. I'm not quite sure about the pen pastel aspect, but I definitely feel like I may be able to, you know, salvage some of this tutorial. If not, it will just be a process tutorial that you can watch real time. So we use pen pastels as the basis, and then we go on top with the luminance, and it does it here. And it's all about building up. Now, Strathmore paper does not have an amazing amount of tooth, and if I was to do this piece again, I'd probably choose a different type of paper, because once I start adding pencils on top of the pen pastel, I felt like the tooth of paper was starting to get away from me, and the way I created the outcome of the skin was basically some Gamsol, pencil, some workable fixative, so I could add layers on top of layers. But the thing about fixatives is that it can only help you build so much. So if I was to really go back and recreate this as a tutorial, I would definitely use different type of paper, and most likely I would probably use a fine gritted pastel paper. And the reason is because even to the point where I'm doing skin now, the tooth of the paper was getting away from me, and that's when I knew I had to really achieve what I wanted to achieve quickly, because there's a chance that I won't be able to build more layers up. Anyway, so I'm using all the colors from the luminances to build up these layers, and I realized that I need to use a blending solvent to kind of blend everything together, and that's what I did. And after I let that dry, I went in again with the luminance pencils just to see if I could add more texture and add more depth to the skin, because at this point I wasn't too happy about how things were turning out. I felt like it wasn't smooth enough. The colors were probably too yellow, and there wasn't enough contrast in the skin. So even though I was doubting the piece so far, I just kept pushing through because I was like, I've already started. What's like, what else am I going to do? I might as well try. So I persisted, and it really turned out nice. I was quite happy with it in the end. I was satisfied with the whole outcome of things, but certain aspects I wasn't really proud of. So overall, I like the piece. I think it's a very great piece. It has nice colors, great color combinations, but in terms of technical criticism to myself, I wouldn't give myself 10 out of 10 for that skin. So I'm going in with white Posca pens as well, because I like to lay down white Posca pen before I apply metallic. Now, the reason I do that is because sometimes my wax pencils will go over certain lines, and say there might be a bit of wax pencil in that chain. And sometimes paints don't adhere to waxy surfaces. In fact, they kind of pull away from it. So by using a Posca pen, I'm able to evenly place down a layer of this medium that watercolor paints or the metallic Finetec paints adhere to. So it's something that I've developed over time to incorporate my metallics with my wax pencils or my oil pencils, because in the past I've noticed my Finetec paints will pull away from the surface because it's so smooth, and sometimes that happens, you'll notice. So this is how I combat that issue. I use Posca pens to do a base, and because it's white and I place the color on top, I think it makes the gold pop out a bit more, but who knows. Anyway, so you can see that the skin is coming together. You can definitely see around the nose and the mouth where I've done those highlights and shadows. It really stands out, and that's probably one of my most happier parts of this piece, just because there's a great amount of detail around that. And when I look at this piece, I think this is the most realistic piece I've created, and it really like has that human quality to it, and it's somewhat, I find this piece is very realistic, and that's what I'm proud of. The skin finish is a bit on edge for me, but if I was to go back, I definitely would fix that. So I thought I wanted to do something different with the jewels on this character, but in the end I just kept it really simple because I don't know, I just didn't feel like I wanted to put like topazes or special types of gems. So I just focused on doing the highlight with Posca pen, and I didn't follow the original sketch. I added some extra bits just to make it stand out, and I put some highlights on the other beads that you see now, and it really makes things pop. The one thing I regret is placing down that black marker, because what you'll see later on is that it kind of bleeds into the surface, and later on I have to fix it. So it's a small error, but it's easily fixable. So I did the crown in golds, and I use a range of colors of tan to yellow and dark browns. Gold is a very difficult color to achieve, and I'm not quite sure whether I achieved it, but in the end I'm quite satisfied with it. I probably choose different colors later on. So at this point I'm also doing the jewels on this character, and I thought I would do like a gem. I would do this acorn jewel in, I guess, golden type of colors or yellow diamond type of colors. Keep it really warm. And it turned out nice. It was, once I put all the highlights on with Posca Pen, I was really happy with it. With the eyebrows, I did the base in texture, and then I went on top with a lighter Luminance pencil. And I really wanted to create natural fuzzy looking brows because I feel the whole blocky brow a bit too unnatural. So I went in with light pencil to create those finer hair strokes, and you can see it actually works out. It's really, her brows look very thick and full, and I like that. I didn't stray away from the original shape. In fact, I just made the eyebrow just a bit more fuller with hair strokes, and I kept it similar to the original shape. Now, I'm actually quite happy with the hair. I wanted to do purple hair because I don't think I've done purple hair yet. And by using markers and a range of purple colors and whites, I was able to achieve the hair that you see now, and I was really proud of it. Could I have gone in with more detail? Yes. I still think I can improve on my hair skills, but I am satisfied with how things turned out, and I think it turned out really nice. I think the real key to doing hair is about getting your highlights and your shadows really well down packed. And it's about kind of having that eye for where shadow and light hits. And I think I did a good job. I'm quite proud of it. And as you can see all those hair strokes, you can see all those lines. And I think that's what really gives this piece a realistic quality to it. And it did turn out nice. I did like it. I could easily go back more and do some detail, but I guess I was being a bit precious with it. I didn't want to push it too far, and at this point I was quite happy with everything. I did go in with some solvent. This is from Art Spectrum, and it's an odorless solvent. It's quite good. I really like it. And then I went on top of the hair just to soften out the pigments that have been laid down. I let that dry and then did the top of the hair. Now, because I'm very fussy with how I work with at the moment, because I've had issues in the past with smudging, I actually work from center outwards, and that's why I flipped the page upside down so that I wouldn't smudge anything. And see, it's really about getting the right balance of your highlights and your medium tones and your shadows. And once you get that balance, you can really achieve really nice hair. I'd really like to achieve, well, my aspiration for the future is to be able to do this type of technique but with a natural hair tone. I've been able to achieve this look with purples and reds. I'm yet to try it with natural tones like browns and blondes. So I do go back into those layers once I've added that odorless solvent, and the reason why I go back in with those layers is to add the detail, because obviously the layers now previously were kind of softened with the solvent, and any layer that you put on after it dries becomes quite fine and sharp. So that's how I achieve realistic hair. It's also how I achieve fur as well. So I'll go in with one layer and do fur, and then I'll go in with a odorless solvent, And then once it dries, I go in with another layer of pencil just to give it that detail. The feathers in the hair I'm not that proud of because I haven't done feathers before really, and this was my first attempt. I think I did a decent job, but obviously there is room for improvement, and I don't know what's wrong with this piece. I'm happy with it. I hope it looks like feathers, but I'm not too sure. Either way, the feather aspect of this piece isn't that important, and when I had my objective wasn't to really make the feathers stand out anyway. It wasn't really an important part in my mind. I was more focused on the autumn leaves because this piece is called Autumn Aurora. So I'm quite satisfied with how the feathers turned out, but I do feel like there is room for improvements. So hopefully in the future I'll probably look at some feather tutorials and check them out. So when I was doing the autumn feathers, I had this whole vision of autumn leaves, and I didn't want to do the leaves the same because I know with autumn leaves, every autumn leaf is a bit different. They all have different types of colors and vibrancies and different types of oranges and reds. So to give this piece a bit of wow and a bit of something different, I did every autumn leaf differently. And I think by doing that, I've given this piece a bit of difference. It makes every section of the piece is something different, something you don't expect. So by not making the leaves exactly the same, it makes every aspect of this piece interesting. I think by using different types of colors of reds, yellows, orange, greens, it makes the piece really interesting. I think using green has really created a sense of contrast against the piece, because so far the piece looks quite warm. There hasn't been any green yet, and I think throwing a bit of green there just makes it a bit interesting, creates a bit of contrast and dimension to the piece. And because I like to tie things back together, I used green on the collar to kind of reconnect with the green used in the autumn leaves. So I like to do that. I like to connect colors together, so use existing colors and kind of make things harmonize a bit better. I don't want one side to have green and the other side to not have green, if you get what I'm saying. Like, I like to create a sense of harmony, and the way I create harmony is by evenly dispersing colors that I've been using throughout the piece. So I think these things are feathers on the neck. I made them look like feathers, and I actually really like how these turned out. I think the colors I used in the greens here were really nice and they really popped out. And to also create another sense of harmony within the autumn leaves, I did a bit of red in the clothing as well. And because I wanted to kind of make things more autumn autumn-like. Autumn had that more, emphasize that autumn feeling. I use a range of reds, oranges, and yellows in the background with pan pastel. Now, if you look at my technique, I really like this spongy type of technique that I'm using. It gives a bit of texture, and the colors from pan pastel are so vibrant. I find them really attractive, very beautiful, and they're absolutely amazing products. So if you guys don't have pan pastels but am looking for a pastel product, give these a go. They're really vibrant, very permanent, and they are just really beautiful. And I really enjoy using pan pastels. Sometimes I'm very scared, but all in all, I actually love the outcome. I love the texture, and I love the color payoff as well. So I'm doing little details with Posca Pens, creating highlights, creating finer detail, and I really am proud of my work. If I was to do anything, I would take back those black lines. I don't think I really needed it, but you know, sometimes I'm in the moment and I do it. I hope you guys have enjoyed this piece. I'm not sure whether I will do a tutorial, but I'll definitely show you guys a real-time video of this. So guys, that's all from me. Like and subscribe, comment below if you have any questions, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.